instead of trying to make a short film, try to invest the same amount of money to do a pilot for a series. It is completely different, but it could be a better investment for the next future than even the episode 1 of a series if you can reach the interest of a broadcaster. We have been spending money for something which could be the number 1 episode of the series instead of investing the same amount for a short movie which will never travel to countries or to festivals. And the second aspect of documentaries, I have a lot of documentaries in my catalog, and unfortunately, it could make years before I make a series for documentaries. It could make years. And this is what we try to convince. For instance, I have the last acquisition we made is about Ebimpe. Ebimpe is a small village close to Abidjan, the capital city of Ivory Coast, where the African football contest, La CAN, will be starting in January. Ebimpe was a small village, a small suburb, and now Ebimpe is the place where the big stadium has been built for this CAN. And it's a complete change in this village because the old traditions, between the old people who are still in the small part of the city. Now it's a big city, it's a big place where different motorways are coming, and it's a complete change. And this documentary, I have only one buyer for this. I make a sale to airlines, and they bought the film for 200 euros. You know, I can say there is no interest for documentaries by many broadcasters. They can, they want to see the matches, the game, but they don't care about the others. This is the problem with the African market.
But I don't totally agree with you. The young man is doing short films. I think you should take away from here what makes you happy. You know, and let me make you happy in a way. I heard that last year, a short film took away the grand prize. You know, I pitched against feature films at Afraid. So there's something in it for short films. You know, those who make short films sometimes don't want to go for feature. Sometimes they just want to do second.
Yeah, I just want to jump in on that because, one issue I think that we have is understanding film and the film industry. It's very different from other art industries, and it can be debated, is it art or is it business? And so on this panel, we're talking about key distribution and marketing strategies, and we're talking about it from a business point of view. So you can enjoy to make a short film, but it does take a lot of money, a lot of time. It's not like painting a portrait where you're one person doing it. It takes a team. You have people you have to pay. So when we're looking at it from a business point of view, we have to be strategic about it. We have to plan even in terms of what you were saying about the marketing and even distribution. That happens when you start developing. It's before you shoot, before you go into production, is when you start developing your idea. That you already have to have a marketing plan in place. You already have to think about where is this going? Why am I making this? We have some short films that we do distribute, but they are extremely hard to distribute. Documentaries for Africa are extremely hard to distribute. We were able to get one of our short films onto Netflix at the time when they were kind of buying up anything, and it did actually well on the platform, but you have to look at what your audience is looking for. And the platforms, they only care about numbers. So they're going to look at what do people watch. It's the same thing with cinema. It's the same thing with Cassandra's question earlier about why can't we get more African films in France? They're looking at numbers. And so they say, well, Africans and black people don't go to the cinema, so why are we going to put in any black films? Because we don't have that audience. But there's Indian films that are playing all throughout Africa and also in Europe, because for Bollywood, the Indian audience goes and supports their films. So until people go and watch films,
already have the mic. Good morning. My name is Chama. I wanted to ask about the African audience. I think there's been a lot about taking our films to the West. So my question one is, I guess it's twofold for people who have distributed on the continent. Murphy, what are the numbers like on YouTube for the continent, aside from the West, from an income and from an audience point of view, and also distributing Nigerian films to other African countries? I know that Okwe has done that in Ghana and in Cameroon, and so how is there room for growth across the continent as well? Thank you.
So I think the question goes to Murphy and to Okwe.
That's a very nice question. Okay, to start with, the trajectory for viewers in Africa has been going up on a steady basis. I remember when we started 2 years ago, we had more people watching from the West than they are watching from Africa. As we speak today, Nigeria has one of the highest numbers in terms of views. The only difference here is that while they don't watch for that long, I think because of the cost of data and whatnot, the viewers from the West still consume more time per content, if you know what I mean. In terms of also making money, okay, so when put into perspective here, we have hundreds of millions of viewers on our various YouTube channels on a monthly basis, and the top countries would be Nigeria, US, and whatnot, Kenya, and whatnot. But when it comes to revenue, we have more revenue coming from the West, US, for instance, because of course, how much they're willing to pay for adverts, they come to play. Also, how long they are willing to stay on the content also comes to, that comes to play as well. But we're also making a lot of money from people watching from Africa as well. And so it's good news all around, but the trajectory is shifting gradually towards Africa. Thank you.
In reality, the films are released across other countries, Nigeria, Ghana, French-speaking Africa. Most times, the numbers from outside Nigeria have been very low, typically accounts for less than 5% of total gross box office. So it hasn't really been a good experience. It's always good to promote, to market, it's releasing in 13 countries, blah, blah, blah. There was a film released in about 13 countries, released in South Africa, but the numbers weren't commensurate to all the noise. And there are probably a number of factors. There's probably also the cost of marketing in all of these countries. There's probably also things around cost. Because if you take an all-Nigerian cast to other African countries, then, the relatability may not be there. But we haven't had as much success. I think we probably had more success releasing films in the UK and in the US than releasing in African countries. Again, that may also be because the African communities in those territories that are more used to going out and the cinema culture is very strong. It's also been a struggle after COVID. I think perhaps Nigeria is probably the only country that's still recording some growth in terms of cinema attendance generally, and that's not only in Africa. That's in a lot of territories across the world.
Okay, maybe I'm far. All right, so yeah, the question is, for me, I really wanted to be in this section, key distribution and marketing strategy. I know that if I want to send my film to cinema here, I know we have the films. I know we have strong distributors in Nigeria who can handle the film. So now I want my film to cross. Just like the answer you gave with respect to how our films fare outside of the country, I want my films to do well when it leaves the country. What are the critical things I need to look at when it comes to distribution and marketing to make sure it is well powered enough to be able to also do well in those countries? Thank you.
Okay, so it's a very broad question, but I'll try and answer the best I can. I think the first thing is about the story. I think that we underestimate the reproducibility of stories sometimes. So, I mean, if we use the comedy in Nigeria, for example, we do well in Nigeria, but, comedy is very local. Yeah, so people may not really understand, what's funny to you may not be funny, to other territories, because there's a mix of context. So I think the first thing is with the story. The next thing as well is really about marketing. I think that for most independent producers, marketing is not a part of the budget. You sort of finish the film, and then you wonder, what, I have to market the film. I think that it's tough, right? It's a tough environment, but I think that's a major thing. So I think that we somewhat took the idea for granted, then we just drop the films in cinema and expect people to just watch them. So I would say content, and I would say marketing and positioning is very critical in ensuring the film do well. It's a different ballgame to just streaming, because then you have to a certain extent the network of the streamers backing the film. So sometimes you still need to market, but it's a bit easier. When you're going to cinema, it requires a lot more. So I think that's success. Can we take one more question, and that's it? Okay, we'll make it two. Because the young man standing up,
Oh, thank you. Is that for me or for you? Well, I had my hand off earlier. Well, I have the microphone. Yeah, okay. I just did the honorable thing. You have the mic already. You have the mic already. You have it. Don't worry. Okay.
No, great. Thank you. Hi, my name is Soto. I'm a film director, filmmaker. My question is, it's threefold in a way. First, it has to do with the markets. We exist in an interesting continent. We exist in an interesting country. It's an interesting market. It's always very optimistic and wants to quote the numbers, but it's also very fragmented, right? We have an interesting, very, very conservative north. We have what's going on in the east and the south. It's very fragmented in its own ways. And it feels like we are not exactly where we should be. A lot of our films, it really leverages on, the publicity of the clout of what it does that is opening, where it's traveled to, and less sophisticated in making itself, and very less sophisticated in announcing its presence to its target audience, being the young people. It doesn't really speak their language. It feels like obnoxious of me to say, but in a way, the sophisticatedness of it in presenting it to the audience. So my question is, beyond what it does in the box office or what it does in how many countries it opens, as far as leveraging mediums like TikTok and everything that is new, that is a social currency for the young and your target audience, demography that I think you guys are probably targeting to integrate in the cinema, being the 65% youth demography. What are the strategies that you guys are coming up with to see how you could captivate that? And then content, lastly. As diverse as we are, I find that we have an interesting one stroke to the sort of content that we make. We have very large population of ethnicity, and we're going through very interesting social issues, social cultural issues, economic issues that are they provide a rich playing field pricing, but we tend to shy away from that because of what is successful and modeling after what is successful. Is there room for diversity and exploring, because until somebody makes a horror that's successful, horror doesn't seem to be a successful genre because, we don't have the numbers to it. So is there
I'm trying to find your question.
No?
You are looking more fun. You are asking the questions and you are giving us the answers.
No, sorry. There's that room for diversity in the sort of films that you're targeting to what are other marketing marketing strategies that you have in getting the content to the people, and then the first one, distribution and integrating, the fragmented market essentially.
Can I respond? Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
I find it interesting what your discussion is. I understand where you're coming from because this is a discussion that we work a lot now in East Africa because one thing that we have to state is the year, so that's not also an outlet for them. In Kenya, which is the third largest market for Netflix and Amazon in Africa, the numbers are still very low. So a filmmaker needs to see how can my film be shown, how can people go and see my film, or the average person that I'm making my film for cannot afford a monthly subscription to Netflix, so how can I get it out there? So these are a lot of the discussions that we have been having. Like you said, with the mobile theater and these other ideas are things that filmmakers, for example, in Kenya have been trying to do and looking at other ways. And again, I want to go back to the part, it's on the filmmaker. There's room for all the diversity in stories, and that's what we do with our festival as well. We show diversity. Before Nollywood Horror was a thing, we were showing a juju at our festival. We were showing other kinds of titles there. Diversity is open, but you as the filmmaker, you need to think about your demographic. Who are you making the film for? And that's part of the marketing strategy that you need to think about from the beginning. A lot of times when we speak with filmmakers, they say, we say, who is your film for? Who's your demographic? They say, everybody. I want everyone to see it. Everybody is not a demographic. You need to know, I'm making a rom-com, so I'm expecting 20 to 30 year-old women to see my film, so I'm going to cast this person. I'm going to show it at this festival. I'm going to take it here. You need to think about these things. And so you said, I think you see your filmmaker, so kind of as a rule, when you're making a film, you need to know from the beginning who your demographic is. And then if you're making a YA film, something for young people, then TikTok should be part of your strategy maybe. Think about other ways. Think about where the people are staying that you're making it for and go accordingly to that in terms of the type of story you're telling. Hello. What is a good marketing budget? What's a good marketing budget?
Of your total budget. Okay. So it's 30% of your budget. That's a general. It's not always like that. But it was also a very direct question. So if you're making a 200 million naira film, for example, then you should be spending about 60 million on marketing because you want it for everywhere. But I mean, it's not always like that. If you can, then from each of my panelists, just a final word, a takeaway. Pick people that I would like specific takeaways from. Specific take. What's I think what we do like for this, YouTube, Daddy, what should we look forward to from the session, and forward. I'm going to be very quick. Integrity, authenticity, there's nothing worse than trying to look like somebody else. And that's the specificity of there are so many great stories that have to be told to the rest of the world, and I'm very confident in the future.
Hello. Yeah. First of all, I think we're in a very, very good time for the industry. When you have companies like Refinery setting up, doing marketing and post-production, and you have someone from Cannes coming to tell you to submit your films, I think that's amazing, and I think that we're in a very good time. Again, I'm going to just re-echo some of the things that have been said. I think authenticity is key. So some of the buzzwords we hear is hyper local. When you're talking to streamers, and it sounds, but it is true, right? I don't think we can be more Hollywood than the Hollywood owners themselves. So I think that looking inwards and telling more authentic stories, I think will go a long way. Whether it's for cinema, whether it's for streaming, and marketing is the major.
The cost of the airline ticket to go to meet this buyer. So take care of this. Of course, if you don't produce a lot of movies per year or a lot of series, you can try by your own the distribution, and especially when you are from Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa, because two major clients, which are Netflix and Amazon, are only looking for the kind of movie. So you do not need a distributor if you are lucky. But for all other markets, all other countries, take care of trying to do by yourself. This is not the first conclusion that I can say. And the second one is, don't believe that because you are a young, talented director or film producer, you are going to convince any investor to put money on your name. Don't forget that the investors are looking for, of course, a return on investment, and don't believe that your name, your track record will be enough. You are coming to them with product, with program, and they have to be convinced that there is a market for it. So make sure that you are willing to do the good choice.
Also as a distributor, the idea of distribution is sometimes not fully understood on the continent. But for us as a distributor, we're here to help you as a filmmaker get your film out to the world. And so it's a partnership. It's not a tug of war. And also in terms of the festival is a good chance for you to get your film out to new audiences. So Nollywood Week, what we do is we subtitle all of the films into French so that a French audience, a francophone audience can have access. And then we give the filmmakers those subtitles, which they can then further use for other deals in other territories. So I just want to say that Nollywood Week right now, the submission is open. And the next festival will take place from the 2nd to the 5th of May in Paris, France.
Okay. For us, okay, you asked about YouTube. Whether we make money on YouTube, yes. We've been able to make, some substantial payments to some creators in the past. The mistake some people make is that it's YouTube, it's adverts running on them. And they forget that fast channels are coming out every day, and the way they are moving up is alarming, and it's totally powered by ads.